What's up, fam? Welcome back to the rLounge. Toxic parents are the root cause of all dysfunctional families because the fish rots first at its head. Today on rLounge, we learn that sometimes those fish look a lot like mothers. Off with their heads. Our first OP tries to be the mother she never had. This is a post about my mother's behavior ever since I had my son. I need to tell someone because my family makes me feel crazy for being mad. A little background first. My mother and I have never had the best relationship, but we made it work. She kicked me out when I was 18, and I've been on my own and independent without her or my dad's help since then. Last year, I got pregnant with my son, and when I told my mom, she was super excited. I was scared, but she was really supportive and there for me, but only for the first few months. In my last trimester, I got diagnosed with a form of liver failure during pregnancy and was high risk. I was told I was going to have my son early or he could die. After this diagnosis, my mother started to make my life hell. She would purposefully pick fights with me, say awful things about me, and her and my family spread around a rumor that I was drinking during my pregnancy, and that's why I had a liver failure. She stopped showing up to important events like my gender reveal, and would make nasty backhanded comments to me and call me a liar when I would have to be hospitalized. At the hospital when I was giving birth to my son, she made my time there hell and made me out to be the bad guy when I would ask her not to do things that would stress me out. At one point, I asked her to leave, and she cried and made me and my fiance feel like crap because we didn't want her to see her grandson be born. I ended up having an emergency C-section, and she couldn't be in the room anyway. After I had my son, she only came around the first few weeks and would completely ignore me when I laid down ground rules with her. For example, I asked her not to kiss him, and she would do it anyway. She stopped coming around and would always have an excuse to not come over to see the baby, so I stopped caring. She finally started coming around again, but would start telling me how to raise my son and micromanaging my mothering. This pissed me off because all the things she was telling me to do were dangerous forms of parenting. This has been going on for months now, and I haven't been able to find the courage to go no contact with her. The other day, though, was my breaking point. My fiance and I are practicing gentle parenting. My mother came over and my son, who is 10 months old, likes to lay on his back and kick his legs. If you stand in front of him to change his diaper, he'll kick you. But it's not hard, and he doesn't do it on purpose. He's just a baby, and he doesn't know better. I was in the room, and my mother was changing him, and he kicked her, and she just started screaming at him, and this triggered me. I asked her to leave, and she was very upset. She asked me to stop making her out to be the bad guy, which she is, and I told her she is to not yell at my son, which she responded, "I'll yell at him if I want to." This enraged my fiance, and I stopped talking to her. Yesterday, she randomly showed up at my house with gifts for my son to love bomb me, and invited herself in my house. I had my son laying down for a nap so I could vacuum because he is terrified of the vacuum, and I don't want to freak him out. She knows this and purposely went and got him up, and he started crying. I was livid and asked her to leave. Now she's been blowing my phone up, calling me 30 times and texting me nonstop, and I honestly don't know what to do. I want to cut her off, but a part of me misses her and just wants to have a normal relationship with her, but I know that'll never happen. The community responds in kind. "No mo drama please" starts us off. "You're not crazy, your mom is. And your family is enabling and colluding with her. She will not get better. She will not suddenly start respecting boundaries. She will not be able to have a relationship with your son because it's not safe to leave him alone with her. She will not be the mother you need or the grandmother your son deserves. There is no benefit to a relationship with her or to letting her have access to your lives. Sometimes it's less of an issue of encouragement than one of guilt. Give yourself permission to go no contact and to experience peace and stability." Our next thought comes from illustrious ad 5023. "Dear, you need to change the locks, block her, and go no contact. Ask yourself one question. Can I think even one positive thing that will come from ever speaking to her again? She is abusive towards you and your baby. Nope." Our next thought comes from Anna Lost Her Way. "I'm going to give you tough love. Your desperation for a normal relationship with her is putting your son in her line of fire. You're not protecting him. He needs to be the priority. You're a mom first, not a daughter first. Stop sacrificing your son to be the good daughter. It's time to put your foot down." Another extensive thought from A Bit Sheepish. "Honey, you're allowing this behavior. You are the parent now. The main job in your life is to protect your vulnerable child. Every time your mother acts this way, it's because you're doing nothing to prevent it. Your family is your fiance and your baby. Your parents, siblings, grandparents, cousins, whatever. They're not your primary family. They're now your extended family. What they want doesn't matter. What they think doesn't matter. They're not your primary family anymore. Stop giving them so much power over your life. You need to enforce boundaries, and that means that if anyone crosses those boundaries, that there are consequences to their actions. You can't have a boundary without having a consequence. That means refusing to open the door if your mother shows up with gifts. It means blocking her number and social media for a set period of time if she does something you've told her not to. It means putting her in a timeout. It means telling her off to her face that she's being a bad grandmother. I suspect she was pulling all the drinking during pregnancy crap so she had something she could weaponize against you if you try and cut her out. Make sure you're squeaky clean if she does lose the plot and try to call CPS on you. The OP responds, she has threatened CPS before because I had really bad postpartum depression and psychosis, and I wanted to unalive myself, so I made the decision to go get help and get the care I needed. So I left the baby with my fiance and stayed in the hospital for 3 days on meds to see if things got better, and they did. And she told me that made me a bad mom, and I basically abandoned him for my own selfish needs. Which is not true. I honestly believe that if my mother could, she would try to take my baby in a heartbeat. She acts like he's her child. She even calls him her boy. I'm sorry, OP. Having a tumultuous relationship with your parent is never easy. It's super difficult. Sometimes you just try and get nowhere. People never change unless they want to. You might put so much effort and care into a relationship only to receive nothing back, and when that happens, it feels like a slap in the face. I think sometimes it's the case where we miss the idea of who a person could be, this false person that we've made up in our minds, because it's impossible to miss someone who hurts us. But this is normal. At the same time, however, you should never be left to feel stupid, and you should never feel like you're just giving up on someone, because by saying to yourself, I deserve better and I deserve to be happy, you are just being an adult and you are practicing self-love and self-respect. You will always have the memories of whatever good times there were between you two, but you will also have the knowledge that you have the strength to walk away. It's not just okay to leave when a relationship is making you unhappy or is detrimental to your mental health and the well-being of your child. It's the right thing. It's okay to miss someone, even if that person shouldn't be in your life anymore, OP. Give OP some of your best advice in the comments below. Meanwhile, up next, Mama Bear to the rescue. Mother-in-law throws a party for 1 out of 5 grandchildren. So I've ultimately decided to go no contact with mother-in-law indefinitely. I'm really sick of her inconsistency. For years now, she has complained, guilt-tripped all of her kids about how our family doesn't get together. So each time, being the fixer I am, I have reached out more, invited her over more, tried to see my nieces and nephews. But mother-in-law will literally be a no-show or come over and be on the phone with other family the whole time. And with sister-in-law, she guilts me on not seeing her kids, and then she casually says, let's get together and let our kids play together. If I ever randomly text her and I actually give out days in the next week or so to do that, and she just ghosts me instead. So I have been no contact with her for a while now, and don't really plan on having another sit down with her about anything. I'm just going to stay off radar, not respond, and not show up. Well, it's been 7 months since I've seen my in-laws all together. She called dear husband today asking for us to come over Monday for a birthday celebration for him and our daughter. Here's what had me laughing. Our son's birthday was a few months ago. Mother-in-law asked to come by and visit. Cool, whatever. But she brought no card or gift for him. Okay, I didn't think much of it then. But she's going to turn around and throw a celebration for our daughter when she couldn't even bother to do the same for our son, let alone just buy a gift or a card? She came, asked for cake, ate it, and left. Yeah, we're not going Monday anyways. Mind you, she does this almost every year. Out of 5 grandchildren, only my daughter gets a celebration? Nope, I'm not enabling favoritism, division, or dysfunction. Makes me really happy about my decision to go no contact. First reaction from Poopy Clater. It sounds like when your just no in-laws told you who they were, you believed them and responded perfectly. Good for you for putting your children first. The OP replies, it took me a long time to learn this was who they were and to stop excusing it. I'm pretty irritated because my husband did expect me to allow him to take our daughter, knowing that the boundary was the kids weren't going over there anymore, especially without me. And he thinks nothing is wrong with what my mother-in-law is doing. Next comment from Vajaxel. I bet there's something else going on in mother-in-law's life that she suddenly wants to use your other kid for a celebration. There's no other explanation. She turned up without a card or gift for her other grandchild. Why is she suddenly making a big hoo-ha? You're doing the right thing, OP. It's wrong for her to pick and choose when she shows up and for who. Her responsibility as a grandmother is to be there and to unconditionally love her grandchildren equally and without judgment, always and forever. The best thing you can do is to protect your children from toxic behavior like that. Her irresponsible antics should not be taken out on innocent children who don't know any better. Your responsibility is to protect your children at all costs, and you're doing just that. As far as I'm concerned, they aren't missing out on much if their grandmother is that kind of person anyways. I don't know who would want someone like that in their lives anyway. Certainly not me. What are your thoughts? Thanks for joining us today. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We would hate for you to miss out on our next video. If you have feedback on today's content, please let us know in the comments below. See you next time on rLounge.